Hello, everyone. Peter Giannato's here with International Master John Bartholomew. And,
Hey, guys.
He's fresh off of a win with Black in the tournament. So, John, take it from here. Show us some of the important moments of your game against Nikhil Kumar.
Okay, so yeah, I was Black in this game, and I didn't start the tournament too well. I lost my first two games, and after this game, I'm now on an even score. So, good last few rounds for me. So I decided to play G6. He plays D4. I didn't see any games where he was facing G6 at all, and I just had a feeling it was going to come as a surprise to him. So I played a line that I like a lot for Black. I'm not sure of its soundness, but if I have the chance to employ this line and I think the circumstances are right, it can be a real dangerous weapon. So this is the Jinji Indian. Viewers of my channel might know that I play this from time to time. So Black gives up the dark square bishop, but you're basically trying to block the position. You get this F5 move in, which stops White from playing E4. White has these doubled C pawns. So if Black manages to keep the position closed, then it's very easy for White to slip into a passive setup. I've seen lots of people lose positions like this as White just making automatic moves. And White has to have a plan already in mind at this point, or some line that they memorized. And he played pretty quick, although it seemed like he just didn't get a good position. He played G3.
Yeah.
The critical moves are either E4 trying to gambit a pawn or H4 looking for H5. So two moves that immediately try to bust open the position, break down Black's setup. So G3, D6, Knight F3, Queen A5. This is typical in this line. Black tries to attack the pawn on C3. Queen C2, Knight D7, H4, Knight F6. And this move surprised me, Bishop G5. So I don't know if his idea was to take on F6 or not, but it seemed inconsistent the way he was playing H4 in conjunction with Bishop G5 and leaving the light square bishop on F1. So I was already pretty happy at this point. I played H6, he took, I took.
Yeah, that seems like an odd positional decision.
Yeah.
To give away the dark bishop. So, I mean,
right.
You know.
Because you could argue that's White's only real asset in these positions.
Yeah.
Is the bishop pair. Otherwise, structurally, Black is always better.
Yeah.
So Knight D2, putting a stop to Knight E4, but now Bishop D7, and Black is developing very comfortably for this line. This is the usual spot for the bishop, and sometimes you can even play Queen A4, offer a queen trade, and take aim at the C4 pawn as well.
Yeah.
Played Bishop G2, I castled. So if you haven't played this line before, it might look kind of scary to castle this way because White does have the half-open B file, but it's very difficult for White to get anything going again because of that block nature of the position. My idea here was if he castles, I'm going to immediately start counterattacking on the king side with G5. And if he takes, my counterplay is already much further along than his down the H file. So he decided instead to play this move Queen B2. I didn't really understand the purpose of this move. So I went ahead and played G5 all the same. He took, I took. And now this was a key position because I think his next move just leads to a bad position. It's possible White's already in pretty big trouble here, but he castled queenside. And I've noticed in this line that almost every time White castles queenside, Black gets a good position. Because again, there's no danger to Black's king. If I can just hold down the king side, don't allow too much activity, then hopefully I can transfer the position over to the queen side and play against these weaknesses again. But this move happens to be bad timing for White because of Knight G4, and now the F2 pawn is hit. And he just has issues how to defend the pawn. If he plays Rook HF1, then I'm coming into H2 with this rook. He's got multiple pieces lined up on this rank here, so I'm going to be winning something there. Of course, he doesn't want to trade on H8 and then play Rook F1. That also allows Rook H2. So he chose this, but now I take, and he decided to go for Rook takes H1, giving up the F2 pawn. I was expecting Bishop takes just to keep F2 defended, but I think after Rook H8, it's one-way traffic completely for Black. I mean, this is a dream position out of this line.
Yeah.
So again, I have ideas of Rook H2 attacking here. I thought, maybe he'll play Bishop F3. I can put the knight on E5. I can always annoy him attacking c4, queen a4, queen a6. I can even, bring my queen over to the king side at some point if I decide that I want more firepower over there. So maybe this is his best chance. Rook takes h1. So I win the f2 pawn. He gets this active move in, rook h7. Rook e8, defending the pawn. Rook g7. So here, I played queen d8. Funny looking move, but the idea is I'm not too concerned about trying to keep the g-pawn. I more so just want to trade his active rook. If I can trade his rook, that's the only piece that's giving me any sort of headaches in this position. And I figured his pawns would just drop on their own accord. He's got weak g3 pawn in the endgame, and again, these weaknesses that I've already pointed out like 5 times.
Every single pawn is, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I thought here, the important try for white, which of course I had to figure out when I played queen d8, is knight b3. This is the only direct move to try to stir up some trouble, with the idea of rook g8 and now either knight takes c5 or knight a5. I don't think either of these moves work, but I did have to spend some time before playing queen d8 just to verify.
Knight a5 does look a little bit annoying, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Because if you, because he could possibly get some kingside action if you have to go b6 here. I don't know what was your intention here.
Right, I was going to play b6 in this position.
Yeah, and then
and you guys might see this, those of you at home, but the idea is if I take the rook, I get checkmated on b7. So white's just going all in here, playing for an attack.
Yeah.
So yeah, b6 was my intention, and if queen takes a5, rook takes g8 check. So I saw this line, knight c6, take, take here, and then queen takes. He takes on c6, and then I have queen takes c4 at the end.
Yeah.
And I do have to be a little careful around my king. He's got a c6 pawn. I got to make sure I don't run into something like this. But I also control the a6 square, and
his king is also is not the safest.
Totally weak. I can always play knight e4, d5 if I really want to blunt this bishop.
Yeah.
So it's just a good idea when strategically you have essentially a one position to double check your tactics. So I just wanted to make absolute certain that knight b3 and then knight takes c5 or knight a5 was not going to hurt me. Just very briefly here, knight takes c5 instead. Knight b3, rook g8. So knight takes here. I can simply take. And the idea with this knight sacrifice would be to get in d6, so trying to make this bishop participate in the attack on b7, but I can simply play bishop c6 here. And I think...
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
He can't take a pawn on e7 because queen d1 is mate.
Queen d1 mate, right.
Yeah.
And I think this is just winning. Take on e7, threatening queen b7 mate. I have this move to save. And I didn't see anything for white.
Yeah.
Maybe a little shaky still, but it should be a win for black. Like queen c2, I think, knight e4 probably. So that was just running through my head when I played queen d8. But he ended up taking on g5 pretty quickly here, and I get to play rook g8. Now I'm, again, looking to trade this rook, and I consider this position after rook takes g8, queen takes g8 to be just one for black. Yeah. Even if I don't immediately win one of his pawns, they're so weak. I mean, at the very least, I can torture him forever and just maneuver around, get my pieces oriented how I want, and hammer those pawns.
Yeah.
I thought he might want to try knight h5 here, rook h5 rather. It's not a pretty move, and it does allow rook takes g3, but maybe he has slightly more chances with the rook on the board. He can always try to annoy me on the back rank somehow.
Yeah, this looks, just optically looks really bad here.
Yeah, right.
For white, because there's no activity for the pieces. The bishop on f3 is not active. The knight's not active.
Mm-hmm. So there's also some mating net ideas. If I go here and now rook g1 is a threat, take away his flight square to c2.
Yeah.
So he took on g8, I took the queen, g3 is under attack. Played knight f1 to defend it. I came in here, so I'm already trying to hammer all these guys with the queen. Now he played a move that I missed here. I thought he was just losing a pawn immediately because he can't cover all those pawns.
Yeah.
But he played, queen c2, which was clever So his idea is if I take on c4, he gets to play knight e3. And then my queen's under attack, so is the pawn on f5 twice. He's going to take your next move. And I was trying to calculate if this is good for me or not. But then I saw that after queen c2, f4 is just much stronger. And I think the way I found this move, and it's not like a terribly difficult move to find, but again, just trying to give you a glimpse into my thought process. Back here, I was also looking at f4. So trying to use the pin once again. But I didn't like that he could play queen d2. And then after f takes g3, queen f4, I think he'll manage to recover the pawn. Yeah. His queen is active. If he gets to take g3, then black's task is a lot tougher. However, in the game continuation, so in this position, if he plays queen d2 now, I can just take and no queen f4, right? c4 is under attack. Also, one important detail is if he plays bishop f3, trying to take on f4 next move when the bishop isn't hanging, I have queen h3, and I'm hitting the knight. So the timing is just poor for white.
Yeah.
So he did play queen d2. I took queen e3, so looking for some sort of counterplay with the queen. I go over here, take. He takes on g3, knight g4. So I've managed to win one pawn. Very safe position, too.
Yes.
I mean, that's one dominant theme in these types of positions sometimes. It can be really tough for white to get at black's king. So knight e5. And again, from here, I was just trying to figure out the best arrangement of pieces. I didn't want to trade too many pieces because he does have all these chronic weaknesses.
Yeah.
So bishop e4, king c7, prophylactic move, just stopping him from playing bishop f5, looking for a trade.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just important not to rush this. Black has all the time in the world. He looks for the trade. I play bishop b5. Goes back to b1. Now the queen comes over to g4, and
e2 is weak, and
e2 is
g3
weak.
is hanging.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he tries to hold the knight. I bring the bishop back just to stop any knight f5 business, I think is what I was thinking with this move. Maybe bishop f5 as well. Goes knight e4, knight c4. So just one trick I had to watch out for here was knight takes c5. This could be a last-ditch attempt by white. And then if I were to take, he would take on e5 with check. So knight c4 hitting the queen here. And I think there's a number of ways for black to get the job done here. I like the move that I played, though, queen h3. So I'm eyeing c3. I'm also threatening queen h1 check. If I can get to the back rank, he's basically dead, because if I get queen h1 check, he'll have to go king c2, and then I'll have bishop a4, and the bishop on b1 will hang.
Yeah.
So he can't allow anything of that sort.
No. Yeah, even knight a3.
Right, yeah, knight a3 check. So he played this, trying to cover the back rank, but now I can check on g5. And if he steps anywhere with his king, it's just instant execution.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if this, what was I thinking here? I think bishop a4 is good. Bishop f5 is also good. This is similar to the game, actually. Yeah, and if king c2, then I think simplest is probably check and then take on b1 with bishop f5 coming again. Also here, bishop f5.
Bishop f5.
Yeah, actually, probably even
queen
better.
d2.
Yeah, queen d2.
Ouch.
So it's all falling apart for white.
Yeah.
So he blocked with the knight. Queen f6, just attacking him from a new angle now. c3 pawn hit again. If he plays queen g3, I get to the back rank all the same. So he played the knight back, but now I check here. So I did a little, pirouette with the queen, basically, to get it around to this good square. Played king here. Pretty much the only move. Now bishop f5. And at this point, he resigned. Black just has too many threats.
Yeah.
If the knight moves, he gets mated on d2.
Right.
So, yeah, nothing left for him to do.
I mean, you're going to take the knight and go queen d2 anyway. Like, you can't go queen g2 or whatever. You can't move the knight. You can't protect the knight. It's just going to take it and then mate him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, like this is like a really interesting game because if we go back to the beginning, like the nature of this Jinzi Indian is that you fit like the pawn structure gets fixed pretty early, and like it's dangerous to have the weak pawns because if you don't know the proper plan, you're just stuck with them for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
exactly what happened here. Basically, it just that the poor pawn structure just lasted the whole time, and he never generated enough activity to really make up for it. So I mean. People play both sides of this. I'm all, I don't know about you seem to be like the positional player who likes to keep his pawn structure healthy, and so to avoid these sort of do or die positions where you have weak pawns, but you have to sort of go for it to justify it. So yeah, I thought that was like a pretty clean positional game.
Thanks.
So
I think the opening choice it was basically a direct challenge to my opponent. I mean, if he hasn't looked at this line before, it's not a pleasant variation at the face. As you saw, White played seemingly normal looking moves. I mean, White didn't do anything egregious tactically or anything, but just ended up in a pretty perspectless position.
I think basically after Bishop G5 and when he takes your knight, like that has to be like strategically almost over. But like, okay, the game's not over because you have to see like tactics and so forth, right? But like strategically, I think giving away the dark squared bishop in this position has to be like, even though like at the moment it can't get on the A1 H8 diagonal, which is where it would love to be. It just seems like a piece that you have to keep.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So, well, congratulations on your victory.
Yeah, thanks, Peter.
And we enjoy having you here in Charlotte, and we're going to have you back in the summer for summer camp. Yeah. So
it's the Mega Masters camp. Looking forward to it.
This is your third year in a row here in Charlotte at the Chess Center?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Yeah, with like, did you have a break in between, or is it your third year here at the Chess Center and then fourth year straight?
I think there was a year where I wasn't here. I want to say where you guys were moving to the new club.
Oh, yeah.
You were at the library, the older club.
Yeah, but I think you have been here 4 years in a row.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, I think you have been here.
My memory fails me.
Yeah. So that's great. So we enjoy having you here, and so so does everyone, and we appreciate your involvement here at the club. And your willingness to come, because I know
my pleasure.
Your time is you don't have a lot of free time these days. So
I really appreciate you guys putting this event on and inviting me. I don't think people realize how much organizational effort it takes to put on a tournament like this. And Peter and the Charlotte Chess Center, they have 3 sections. There's a GM norm section and 2 IM norm sections. So 30 players all vying for either norms or playing for FIDE points or whatnot. And it's a big ordeal to put on. So I'm glad we have guys like you in the chess world doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
By the way, since I have like a YouTube presence of my own, I want to encourage anyone watching this video and also my subscribers to subscribe to the Charlotte Chess Center YouTube page. I know you guys just started up your channel more actively.
Yep.
So I know you guys are going to be posting good stuff. So yeah, make sure you guys subscribe.
Appreciate it. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
and
thanks,
good luck
Peter.
in the rest of the 4 games.
Thanks.
Yeah.